All right, let's dive into this incredible story of how a single theological idea didn't just split an empire right down the middle. It actually ended up forging the identity of entire kingdoms. I mean, really, how can a single word divide an empire and define a nation? Well, we're going to trace this bitter, centuries-long dispute that all started with one priest in Alexandria and ended up shaping the entire future of Spain. It's quite a journey. Okay, so our story kicks off in the early 4th century, and it all boils down to one simple but, absolutely explosive question. What is the true nature of Jesus Christ? So, at the heart of this is a priest from Alexandria named Arius. And his logic, when you break it down, was kind of straightforward. He thought, okay, God the Father is eternal, uncreated, all-powerful, right? So if the Father created the Son, then the Son, by definition, can't be the same thing as the Father. He has to be a creature. Yeah, the greatest, most perfect creature ever, but still, a creature, separate from and subordinate to God. And right there, that created this huge split. You could call it a theological earthquake. On one side, you have the Orthodox view. The Son is begotten from the Father's very substance, making him just as eternal, just as divine. On the other side, you have the Arian view. The Son was created out of nothing, and that means there was a time when he didn't exist. Two totally different ways of understanding the heart of Christianity. And this quote here, it really gets to the heart of it. Athanasius, who is Arius's biggest opponent, is summarizing the view he found so horrifying. The Son has not always existed. For Athanasius, this wasn't just a theological debate. No way. This was an attack on the very soul of Christianity. I mean, if Christ isn't truly God, if he's just a creature, well, what does that mean for salvation? The whole thing falls apart. The battle lines were drawn. Now, this wasn't some quiet debate happening in dusty libraries. Oh, no. This thing spilled out into the streets. We're talking riots, public arguments. It was tearing communities apart and genuinely threatening the stability of the entire Roman Empire. It got so bad that the most powerful man in the world, the emperor himself, had to step in. So in the year 325, Emperor Constantine calls together the first ever ecumenical council in a city called Nicaea. Look, his goal was pretty simple and mostly political. He needed to put a stop to the chaos. He needed religious unity because religious unity meant political stability for his empire. He wanted this settled, once and for all. And after a whole lot of fierce debate, the council landed on a single, decisive Greek word. And get this, it's a word that isn't even in the Bible. Homoousios. It means of the same substance or consubstantial. This wasn't a compromise. This one word was meant to be a theological silver bullet aimed right at the heart of Arianism. The Nicene Creed that came out of this council was basically a point-by-point takedown of everything Arius taught. It says the Son is begotten, not made. Direct hit. Consubstantial with the Father. There's that word, homoousios. And then, just to be crystal clear, it anathematizes. It condemns anyone who says there was a time when he did not exist. Boom. The official Orthodox position was now set in stone. But here's the thing, right? You can't just kill an idea with a council or a creed. Arianism was now officially heresy, but it didn't just vanish. Instead, it did something incredible. It found a new, powerful, and honestly a very unlikely group of followers, the Germanic tribes living on the edges of the empire. So how does a complex Greek theological debate end up with the Goths? Well, it's a fascinating chain of events. First, you've got this missionary, a Goth himself, named Ulfilas. He's an Arian bishop, and he does something revolutionary. He literally invents the Gothic alphabet so he can translate the Bible into their language. Game changer. Then, a bit later, when the Visigoths are looking for safety inside the Roman Empire, the emperor at the time, Valens, happens to be an Arian. He pressures them to adopt his faith, and just like that, Arianism becomes more than a religion for them. It becomes their identity. It's what makes them Gothic, and crucially, not Nicene Roman. All right, let's fast forward a couple hundred years. The Roman Empire in the West has crumbled, and this religious divide is now playing out in a huge way in the Visigothic kingdom of Spain. Think about the setup here. You have a small, Arian Visigothic ruling class, governing a massive majority of Hispano-Romans who are all Nicene Catholics. It's a recipe for disaster, a kingdom totally divided against itself. And this religious fault line just created constant simmering tension. You had kings like Euric actively persecuting Catholic clergy because he saw them as loyal to a foreign power. Later, King Leovigildo tries to force everyone to become Arian, which just makes things worse. It escalates to the point of a full-blown civil war when his own son, Hermenegild, converts to Catholicism and leads a rebellion against him. It's a family tragedy on a national scale. Father against son, Arian against Catholic. So this incredible conflict, and really the whole story of Arianism as a major political force, it all comes to a head with Leovigildo's other son, his successor. He inherits the same fractured, divided kingdom, and he knows something has to give. He makes a decision that is going to define the future of Spain. The year is 589. King Richard, now on the throne, calls for a great meeting, the Third Council of Toledo. The goal is clear. It's time to finally, formally, and officially deal with the religious division that has been tearing the kingdom apart for generations. And it's here, at this council, that King Richard stands up in front of all his nobles and bishops and does the unthinkable. He publicly renounces Arianism. And he doesn't do it alone. The entire Visigothic nobility does it with him. They officially embrace the Nicene Catholic faith of the majority of their subjects. Just imagine the scene. And you have to understand, this was so much more than just a religious conversion. It was an absolutely brilliant political move. In one fell swoop, it ended the main source of conflict in the kingdom. It strengthened the king's power by aligning him with the majority of the people. And maybe most importantly, it kick-started the real fusion of Gothic and Roman cultures. This was the moment where the idea of a single, unified Spanish people really began. So the long, twisting, and dramatic story of Arianism really leaves us with this big question. What is it that truly unites a people? Is it a sword? Is it a set of laws? Or is it a creed? If this story shows us anything, it's that a battle over ideas, a battle over the meaning of a single word, can be every bit as powerful in shaping history as any battle fought with swords and shields.